You're going to hear a lot about Donald Trump and Ted Cruz ahead of tomorrow night's debate here in Las Vegas at the Venetian Hotel, but do not lose sight of Marco Rubio. The Florida senator has consistently turned in strong debate performances. He is the hope of the Republican establishment and the pick of some pundits to win it all. But to do so, he's really going to have to knock off some of his top rivals. And on NBC's Meet the Press, he took a shot at Ted Cruz.
He talks tough on some of these issues. For example, he's going to carpet bomb ISIS, but the only budget he's ever voted for in his time in the Senate is a budget that cut defense spending by more than Barack Obama proposes we cut it.
Will we see a game-changing Rubio moment on the stage tomorrow, I should say? And to talk about that, I'm joined by Congressman Darrell Issa. He is a supporter of Marco Rubio. I wonder, what do you think your candidate has to do? Because the assumption at this point is he is, I guess, banking on the fact that Jeb Bush will continue to stagnate and that some of that big money that's behind Jeb Bush is going to swing his way and that he's going to get some of that support. But Jeb Bush has a lot of money. He could hang out there for a while. So how does he really set himself apart to take on a Ted Cruz and a Donald Trump?
Well, Brianna, this whole time, this whole campaign, Marco has simply been himself. He's been a uniter. He's been talking about the next generation, if you will, of wants, needs, and conservatism. And it's resonating. Is it resonating first on a given day? No. That position has been changing. But when you look at consistent polls of who's going to win in the general, as more have gotten to know Marco Rubio better, they realize he's the alternative to Hillary Clinton. And after all, it's not about the Republican Party picking a nominee. It's about the American people picking a president who can unite America, who can give us a positive vision, and candidly also deal with a foreign affairs fiasco that has happened over the last 7 years.
A lot of people who are plotting out the race here look at Ted Cruz and they say he's got a pretty decent path. There's a reason why he's going to the southern states after this debate. He's doing well. He's number 2 when it comes to money behind Jeb Bush. How does Marco Rubio compete against Ted Cruz with the money and also with these southern states that are going to be so key once Republicans clear Iowa, New Hampshire, and go into South Carolina?
Yeah, it's certainly, historically, you want to have all the money in the world, and that's how you win. That's not happening now. As you know, the super PACs are spending a huge amount of money. It's not resonating. What's resonating is what candidates actually say. Initially, it was Carson. Then it was Trump. Cruz is having his time. But as people listen, what happens is Marco Rubio continues to rise steadily. Well, these other candidates rise, and then, in fact, they sort of tell America what they're really about and plummet. It's happening to Trump. It happened to Carson. I think it's going to happen to Cruz. As Marco Rubio said the other day, and you prefaced with it, Cruz has not been a uniter in the Senate. Why would we believe he'd be a uniter when he gets to the White House? What we've had for the last 7 years is a loner in the White House who doesn't seek counsel, and nobody really knows how he makes his decisions. We need somebody that's open, transparent, and inclusive, and that's Marco Rubio.
So what is his strategy coming in tomorrow night to this 5th and final debate, what could really be very pivotal in the wake of these 2 terrorist attacks? Is it that he's going to take on Hillary Clinton? Is it that he's going to position himself as more electable, assuming he were to get to the general?
Well, I think to the extent that we're talking about the terrorist attacks and we're talking about bad policy versus good policy, Marco Rubio is there, and he's always been there. He's been the one touting and pushing and actually getting legislation so that we can make America safer. He's fought very hard for it. It's one of the dividing points, if you will, between Cruz, who, although sometimes is a libertarian, I like him, but as a national security person, he sometimes loses track of you can't be a purist when you've got to protect the American people. Marco Rubio has been solid on that, and I think that's going to come out tomorrow night.
This is one of the hits that Marco Rubio has put up against Ted Cruz, is this vote on letting that program for metadata expire. And he said, look, this is something that Ted Cruz did. He's not strong on national defense. Are we going to see that sort of rumble happen here in Vegas tomorrow?
You know, there were people on both sides of that. What's important to understand is Marco Rubio said, we have to have a viable program, and I'm for this one, and I want to transition to others perhaps, but we've got to have it. We can't go dark. Cruz has said, it doesn't matter. To be candid, there has to be a next generation of the ability to seek out these. And I'll be quick. Marco Rubio has talked about the mistakes we've made in not looking at open data. He's very tech savvy, where Cruz has talked about, well, just let it be. And right now we know that what happened near my district in Southern California, in San Bernardino, could have been prevented with open source searching, something that the United States government could do. It wouldn't be controversial. Look at Facebook and look at Twitter and find out who's talking terrorism before you let them in the country. That's where Marco Rubio stands, is solid and predictable and consistent.
Congressman Darrell Issa, thanks so much for being with us. We do appreciate it.